Latifah as Pharaoh.
Yes.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yes. Why not?
Why not?
She's the queen.
That's right.
Newark, rise up right now. Peace and welcome back to the Temple of Hip Hop. I am KRS-One. So I ducked into one of our studios real quick just to conduct this lesson. It is so wonderful actually to come to the Temple of Hip Hop and have so many events going on. Right now there's a basketball game going on in our gym, and one of our other rooms are being occupied by city officials that are doing something, and then there's a birthday party also going on at the same time. This is wonderful to be in the community like this, and of course the kids are running around doing their thing, but more and more people are learning that the Temple of Hip Hop exists here in Newark, New Jersey, and they're coming through and taking a look. Some people I see are beginning to take pictures outside the front and so on, posing and so on within the front. We haven't really started a full out and out marketing and promotion of the temple. We're not doing that yet. We're actually getting our work started. The internal work, like I said, we're building the temple. Bradford Brown is coming through with amazing pieces. We have our information. We're getting knowledge and information and testimonies and writing them up so they can go up on the wall, go onto television, or should I say just, visual presentations, etc. So this is a place of learning. And so if you're on this call, like I always say, you are studying to become a hip hop cultural specialist, a hip hop teacher yourself. So here we are at, I'm here at the Gospel of Hip Hop. And of course our read is short today because we're just going through the divine performances, And like we said as well, that at the end of the divine performances, we're going to take a break. And then we're going to return with these calls in November, Hip Hop History Month, and then go into 2025. And reason being is because we're building our studio. We're going to have a better production in a few minutes in that sense. So we're going to break down, take a break. At the top of Hip Hop Appreciation Week, these calls will stop and they will resume again in November 2024. So if you got your Gospel of Hip Hop, turn to page 182, and we are talking about perform responsibility. Here we go. Perform your responsibilities. Regularly check your response ability. This means to regularly check the character of what you respond to. Prepare for what you must respond to and be mindful as to how well you respond. Ask yourself daily, what is my ultimate responsibility? Have I met my responsibilities? True hip hoppers always seek to help, which proves their selflessness. True hip hoppers always seek to uplift, enhance, and strengthen those who rely upon them. Even if it is personally uncomfortable, the true hip hopper does what is required of him or her. Such an ability is not for everyone, nor can such an ability even be performed by everyone. Responsibility is a spiritual skill. It is maturity, self-respect, and self-sacrifice that helps to develop the response ability of the true hip hopper. Without maturity, self-respect, and the ability to sacrifice for others, it is difficult to be a responsible person. This is why many young rap fans start off irresponsible. They simply lack the ability to respond to issues beyond my clothes, my rent, my car, my thirst, and so on. They cannot see past their own individual needs, their own individual wants and needs. Self-sacrifice is the essence of responsibility. Let me say that again. Self-sacrifice is the essence of responsibility. Without that sense of doing for others and liking it, like wanting to see somebody else succeed, wanting to see somebody else overcome something, wanting to see the benefit onto another person. This gives you the strength to meet your responsibilities. This gives you the strength to sacrifice on behalf of somebody else or for a worthy cause or etc. And this is important too, because it has to do with maturity. It has to do with one's maturity. Self-sacrifice is the essence of responsibility. Let's continue. The Temple of Hip Hop encourages hip hoppers to do what they are supposed to do when they are supposed to do it. Most people are led by their wants and not by their needs. Most people do what they want to do, as opposed to what they must do. And this is just irresponsible. Hip hoppers are encouraged to do what they must do first, then do whatever they want to do later. Always doing what is pleasurable and or easy to do sets one up for a weak foundation in life. Let me read this to you one more time, because this is important too, and I'm stumbling through it. Let me get it right. Hip hoppers are encouraged to do what they must do first. See, this is maturity. That's why I want to walk through this. Hip hoppers are encouraged to do what they must do first, then do whatever they want to do later. Always doing what is pleasurable and or easy to do sets one up for a weak foundation in life. This is the key. Always running from the pain, or always running from the hard work, or always running sets you up for a weak. You get weak. Sets you up for a weak foundation in life. You know, if you're not lifting weights, you can't lift weights. So if you can't endure life and rise to your responsibilities, you can't endure life, and you can't rise to your responsibilities. Those that rely upon you can't rely upon you. I mean, think about that. As an attuned hip hopper, a lot of us are leaders in our families, leaders in our communities, leaders at work. A lot of us are entrepreneurs, which makes us CEO and boss. You know, these things have to, without a sense of responsibility, your business fails. Your business fails without a sense of responsibility. And then, of course, a responsibility to the community, a responsibility to your family. I mean, with no sense of responding to the needs of your family, responding to the needs of your community, responding to the needs of yourself. It said here somewhere, actually on paragraph 2, it says, it is maturity, self-respect, and self-sacrifice that helps to develop the responsibility of the true hip hopper. Did you get those three? Three. Maturity, self-respect, and self-sacrifice. In fact, self-respect and self-sacrifice leads to maturity. It's the proof of it. So, the Temple of Hip Hop encourages hip hoppers to do what they must do when they are supposed to do it. Most people are led by their wants and not by their needs. Most people do what they want as opposed to what they must do, and this is just irresponsible. Hip hoppers are encouraged to do what they must do first, then do whatever they want to do later. Always doing what is pleasurable and or easy to do sets one up for a weak foundation in life. Continuing now. For there is nothing special about easy. It is the conquering of the difficult that makes one special and even appreciated. Hip Hop Appreciation Week, May 13th to the 19th, 2024. The one who goes out of her way, his way, to remove a difficulty is respected by everyone. The one who can be depended upon is respected by everyone. The one who makes sacrifices for the good of the whole is respected by everyone. And this is what it means to be responsible. It means that you and others are clear as to where your commitment lies. The attuned hip hopper is not afraid of commitment. In fact, the attuned hip hopper builds a character that demands respect by selflessly performing her commitments and responsibilities. At times, we must even sacrifice for those who depend upon us. We will not always like what we must do, but if the greater good depends upon our commitment, then those dependent upon us, those dependent upon our sacrifices, must not be let down. Attuned hip hoppers are dependable people, and this is not easy. Okay, I'm reading a book. Okay, I'm reading this, but in real life, the performance of this is divine. That's why these are called divine performances. Average people can't do this. Okay, with all due respect. This proves your divinity when you know you worked for something, got the value of that work from that something, but can't enjoy it because it has to go to somebody else for a higher good or to meet your own responsibilities. You have to transfer that wealth, that value, that whatever over to somebody else, because that somebody else is depending on you to live, to think, to, you might be a teacher, you might be a police officer, you might be, whatever it is, a doctor, a lawyer. They're depending on you. You got to show up. A doctor that don't show up, you're out of here. A lawyer that doesn't show up, a cop, a teacher, if these professionals don't show up, if you can't depend on them, society falls. And guess what? Here it is. I'm in paragraph 6. The attuned hip hopper is not afraid of commitment. In fact, the attuned hip hopper builds a character that demands respect by selflessly, get this, builds a character that demands respect by selflessly performing his commitments and responsibilities. Selflessly performing. At times, we must even sacrifice for those who depend upon us. We will not always like what we must do, but if the greater good depends upon our commitment, then those dependent upon us and our sacrifices must not be let down. Obviously, I'm reading this again. Attuned hip hoppers are dependable people. The attuned hip hopper upholds an image of maturity and can always be depended upon. Remember, with whatever you must do, if you want to do it, then it is not a sacrifice. It is when you do things that you personally do not want to do that you are indeed sacrificing. However, to be responsible is to be dependable. That's a deep line right there, because I'm talking to somebody right now that's ready to give up because it's too much. It's just too much right now. You're meeting your responsibilities, but you're getting beat down by them at the same time. And this is a word of encouragement, because I've been through this same situation. A lot of times I'm going through it even as I speak to you. To meet your responsibilities and having to sacrifice to meet them. It's one thing to just meet your responsibilities and there's no sacrifice. So you say, I'm going to show up, for this or that and meet my responsibilities. There's no sacrifice. But I'm talking about when you have to give something up to be responsible, to maintain a foundation or anything. When you are the one that is the pillar, you're the Atlas. That's what we're talking about here. And Atlas was a god as well. The old gods. These are the way. Atlas is the dude holding up the world, or the figure of the dude holding up the world. And so, get this, because you're not always going to like it. And what the gospel's speaking of is, but if you like it, it's not sacrifice. It's when you don't like it. Woo! But over the years, I will tell you this, over the years, when you develop this habit, you're never depressed, because you got someplace else to go in your own being. You know, when it looks like it's exploitation, or it looks like you're being taken advantage of, or it looks like you don't have enough, or it looks like any of these things. This lesson is so important because let me tell you this. I learned off this lesson about responsibility that when you make responsibility a habit in your life, now this is for the spiritual, things always work out. They always work out. I'll give it to you another way. When you do things just for yourself, you may win. You may win when you do things for yourself. But when you do things for other people, like for your family, and I mean other people, like your kids, wife or husband or spouse, I should say, or community, or institution, when you do something for something other than yourself, not only do you get it faster, you get an abundance. What you get for yourself, you get for yourself, and your portion is yours. But when you do for other people or do for a larger cause, what comes to you is abundance. Blessings come through you, not necessarily to you. Yes, blessings do come to you. That's individual. And those blessings come. But I'm talking about a self-sacrifice blessing. I'm talking about when you have a habit of giving up your pleasure for the pleasure of others. Giving up your ease and your peace and your serenity so that others can have peace and serenity. You don't have to do it all the time. But if you this type of person that can actually do that, you notice the abundance comes. It comes. You develop different abilities in you even that you would not have turned on if it was just for you. But because it's for somebody else, you turn on these other abilities. Just another piece of responsibility. Moving on. So to be responsible is to be dependable. And it's tough to be dependable, to have integrity. Stay on your word. I'm going to be there at 9. You're there. Hip-hoppers are encouraged to be dependable people, responsible people, committed people. For us, the balance, or should I say this, for us, the balanced life is when you want to do what you have to do. Look at that. When you want to do what you have to do. When your responsibilities are a joy to complete, your life is balanced. When you are committed and responsible to something or someone you truly love, when your sacrifices bring you peace and joy, your life is balanced. Charles Kingsley reminds us, quote, "Thank God every morning when you get up that you have something to do which must be done, whether you like it or not." Being forced to work, this is controversial here, but look at it. Being forced to work and forced to do your best will breed in you temperance, self-control, diligence, strength of will, content, and 100 other virtues which the idle never know, end quote. Perform responsibility. Now see that part right here, I want to go back to this. Being forced to work, that's slavery. Being forced to work and forced to do your best will breed in you temperance. Now others will say, this is crazy. Being forced to work gonna breed all this. But see, this is the difference between reading and living. I can tell you unequivocally, I did not like getting beat by my mother with belts and whatever, or boyfriends or whatever, being disciplined with belts and, getting beatings, okay? When we were growing up, kids got beat. You got slapped, punched, beat with belts, and put in check. Now, of course, today that's called child abuse. and back then, I put it to you this way, and some of you may know this. Even the schools, like Catholic school, was notorious for slapping kids with a stick on their head and all of this, the ruler and all of that type of stuff. Well, all of this today is outlawed and is now child abuse and even politically incorrect now to discipline, to physically discipline your child. But I'll tell you, in all honesty, after you got that ass whipping, it's something in you, you knew you needed it. I don't know how to explain this. I don't know how to explain this, but as you got older and you realized what was real, you realized that ass whipping saved your life or made you into a person that you appreciate, at that age. Like, got the ass whipping at 14, but when I reached 18, I was a better person for it, and I know I was. In fact, I was such a better person for it, I respect my mother to this day. I respect my father to this day. I respect that Catholic school teacher or whatever to this day. You don't look back and say, oh, that was abusive and that was that. You see what was being put in you, but it was physical. It was a physical beatdown. But when you got back up, you was a new person, and you also would offer this to somebody else. They need an ass whipping, because there's something about being forced to work. Now, nobody wants to be forced to work, and we do not promote slavery around here, nor do we promote the abuse of children either, okay? We kind of like it the way it is now, where children have some kind of rights. But you can see by the way our children are acting, not the majority of children, but some children who really probably need a good ass whipping. But nobody's going to say that. Nobody's going to, nobody's even going to do that in that sense. So the kids get to wild out. And we don't have another remedy. We don't have another remedy. Nothing's happening. So this is deep philosophy. You're going to have to take this with the other divine performances as well. No, you don't need slavery to be taught temperance. No, you don't have to get your ass beat to become a model citizen. But there's something about that traditional style of discipline that worked, and we should not forget it. We should not forget it. We may want to put it aside. We may want to say it's old-fashioned, outdated, even illegal. But you don't want to forget that there was a time in society that this went on, and here's was the benefits of it. Not just there's the downside, here's the benefits of it. We don't need to repeat the same thing, but if we could just look at the benefit. Now, you don't have to beat your kid and all of this type of stuff, but what are we talking about? We're talking about responsibility. And so many people today don't have a must do something or a gotta do something. You just drift along, and if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. Nobody's asking you of anything. Nobody's putting you under pressure to produce your best. People just living from day to day. So the gospel of hip hop, at least in this section, perform responsibility, it is about performing your best. It is about looking difficult challenges straight in the eye and rising above it, figuring out how to conquer problems and difficult situations and even difficult people, and not even conquer, but how to satisfy, how to deal with, answer the question, remedy the situation. How do you do that with a difficult person, a difficult situation, and so on, while you're performing your responsibilities? While you're performing your responsibilities, how do you deal with that? Well, it's called the divine performance, and we get together and read like this every Sunday, 12 o'clock. And again, these Sunday calls are going to stop at the end of this divine performance read, and we will resume again in November. Until then, This is the Temple of Hip Hop. We are a hip hop preservation ministry, archive, school, and society. We started in 1996, and now we're located at 55 Ludlow Street, Newark, New Jersey. I'll see you here or there. Peace. So here we are. Bradford Brown's about to release another piece. We just saw MC Lyte, Queen Latifah came into full view.
I had the opportunity to create one of my pieces of this person. And the thing is, I can't do everybody. And if I wasn't working for you, and I'm glad I said you, because I have to direct every review to you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here right now.
There's no praise. You're looking at a mirror. You're praising yourself. As a matter of fact, when we came to this building, Bradford Brown's art was already on the wall. It was a no-brainer to then say, but wait, we looking at Prince, we looking at Biggie, we looking at George Clinton, was already here. So it was a no-brainer to just say, well, can you do Latifah? Can you get Curtis Blow? Can you? And sure enough, like you just said, you can't do everybody, and you're not even inspired to do everybody. But the figures that you did put forward, you can see the inspiration in it. MC Sha Rock, look at yourself, Sha. This is crazy. You up in the Temple of Hip Hop with a full bio, full remembrance of your art and your work and how you inspired all of us. Bradford Brown did you in.